Hello and welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for our weekend preview. And last weekend we saw the end of the UK flat season. We now really get to see the start of the jump season with the Cheltenham Showcase meeting. 2 days of action there at Cheltenham. We still do have some flat action on this preview. Obviously got the Group One Vertem Futurity trophy from Doncaster on Saturday. Jack and I are going to be looking at Saturday races only, but Jack is going to be at Cheltenham for 2 days this weekend. And Jack, are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I can't wait, actually. It's great. I mean, we got good to firm ground at the moment. There was a kind of a drizzle on Thursday. Not sure how much rain there's going to be on Friday. Of course, that will determine big time what the ground's going to be like on Saturday. So it's kind of a little bit up in the air. I know I won't be placing a bet probably until Saturday morning when we know exactly what the ground's going to be like. I know they've been watering all week. They had 10 millimetres of rain on Sunday. But hey, the pilgrimage to the Holy Land's back on. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it on the TV tomorrow. It's going to be fantastic to see it back. And Jack and I will be doing a review of Champions Day and the whole of the flat season. I mentioned this in our last video. We're going to be doing that live on Breeders' Cup night. It's going to be kind of fillers in between races. Look forward to that. I'm going to post something next week with a bit about what's going to go on that night. We're going to have a fantastic live night watching the races. You guys can watch it with us and interact with us at the same time. We'll have some special guests join us throughout the evening as well. So looking forward to that. Let's get into the racing then, and we start off with Cheltenham. We'll kick off with the 205 on Saturday. This is the 888 Sport. Is made to play handicap chase. It's a Class 2 chase over 3 miles 1 furlong. The betting looks like this currently. The Hollow Ginger 7-2. Tullybeg unlikely to run, going to be running on the Friday, 6-1 currently. Captain Catstock is 13-2. The Wolf 8-1. Cursor Wren 10-1 and 12-1. Bar these. Now, Jack, last year the Hollow Ginge was just touched off by a Gordon Elliott horse. I mean, we've got a Gordon Elliott horse in here at the moment, but it's not going to happen this year. Can you fancy the Hollow Ginge?
Yeah, I think you can. I mean, he came into the race in such similar form as he has done this year. Of course, he was at Ayr last year and it's Aintree this year. But look, I mean, he jumped horribly last year. I watched the race back a few times and he just jumped horribly, but he got into a nice rhythm. Kind of the last quarter of the race was, of course, touched off in the end by the Gordon Elliott horse with the £4 claimant. But they pulled so far clear and he's £10 lower than he was last year. He dropped £5 for his last run. Look, he goes well fresh. He put in a decent display at Cheltenham last time out. He seems to act on good ground, as we saw last time in this event. So, yeah, I think he has been well found in the market, but I think at 7-2, especially as we know Tullybeg's not going to go. I think he has a great chance on the Friday, but I'm going to assume he's not going to go. I think the Hollow Ginge, yes, has been well found in the market, but as I say, off a mark of 127, I know he's getting on a bit, but you'd think he is still very well handicapped. It is a tough race, though. I quite like Liam Harrison taking off £3 on board Captain Catstock, who won last time out here at Cheltenham. I thought it was a good performance that day. I mean, he jumped all right, I think it's fair to say, but I mean, he travelled really nicely. He came about 3 or 4 wide. It was a very confident ride. I think the margin of victory didn't really kind of flatter him whatsoever, but I do think this is the Hollow Gingers to lose. Wouldn't be surprised to see Captain Catstock follow him home.
Yeah, the Hollow Ginge has been very strong in the market, like Jack says, and this wouldn't be probably my strongest selection of the whole preview just because of the price. But look, the Hollow Ginge, such a brilliant jumper, £10 lower than last year, like Jack said, could be very well handicapped here. Not getting any younger, but in what's not the strongest of races, I think I probably have a small bet on the Hollow Ginge, currently 7-2 with most bookmakers. Let's move on now to a race that I'd be very intrigued to hear Jack's opinion on. It's the 240. It's the Masterson Holdings Hurdle. It's a Class 2 over the extended 2 miles. This just has the 5 runners, Pied Piper being the favourite here at 11-10, Night Salute 2-1, Dr. Parnassus is 5-1, Bella Scintilla is 11-1, and Sawbuck 50-1. Pied Piper, Night Salute, or anything else, Jack?
Oh, for me, I actually think I'm going to say it's relatively simple here, if I'm going to be honest. I think Pied Piper is much the better horse of the two. Yeah. I think the Cheltenham form in January, which he showed when absolutely romping home, was an absolutely ridiculous performance. Of course, we saw the ride at Aintree absolutely did him over. I don't think he's going to be produced by Jack Kennedy any earlier than the final hurdle, that's for sure. But I think with regards to ground, if much of the rain doesn't come, I mean, he was 6th in the Ascot Stakes last time out. He's rated 96 on the flat. He recorded RPRs of 104, 95, and I think 98 on good to firm ground on the flat. So he handles all kind of ground. I think that's not going to be an issue to him whatsoever. And I really do think this is going to be his day of redemption. Knight Salute, of course, you have to respect him. I mean, of course, his one loss of his whole career was in the Triumph Hurdle, but of course, Pied Piper was third that day, absolutely blew him out of the water. So I mean, I think if an 80% Pied Piper shows up, which I think is the Pied Piper we're going to see, because I know Gordon Elliott said he's going to come on for the run, but I do think Pied Piper is definitely the one to beat, and I hopefully we'll see him win and win well.
Yeah, Pied Piper is a really interesting one. Was last seen sixth in the Ascot Stakes behind Coltrane, who was an unlucky
The
second
Lonsdale Cup
in the
winner?
long distance cup.
The
Sorry?
Lonsdale Cup winner?
Lonsdale Cup winner. So look, I mean, in terms of the form of that, and you go back and look at the form at Cheltenham as well, behind the likes of Vauban and Phil Dorr as well in that Triumph Hurdle, which was a triumph for the ages. You know, he really does look like he could be quite a special horse for this season, being totally honest. I know Knight Salute has won here, but you'd have to say that was a very weak Triumph trial that day when he won. The form of that race really didn't work out. I know he ran well in the Triumph. I know he's beaten this horse at Aintree, but like Jack said, Jack Kennedy probably didn't give this horse the best of rides at Aintree, and Jack would have learned from his mistakes. So I'm in agreement with Jack. I think the prices are completely right, and I think Pied Piper will be winning this race on Saturday. Let's move on to another handicap chase then. The 3:15 is the 888 Sports handicap chase. This is over 2 miles, a Class 2 handicap. And Clear the Runway is 3-1. Editor de Gite is 7-2. Dad's Lad 4-1. The Widowmaker 8-1. Ephinoc Fizz 8-1. Double figures about the other two. Now, interesting to see Willie send Dad's Lad over for this. Jack, very interesting actually. But I'm going to be sticking with a man who I can finally talk about this season for the jumps. I can't wait. Gary Moore and our good friend of the channel, actually Noel Houlihan, who takes the ride, who gets on very well with Editor de Gite. Now this horse here, look, absolutely loves here. Won here in November and December last year and was a very good fourth in the Grand Annual off a big weight. Now, I know he's 8, but I think this horse could be competing for some really big prizes this season. Now, they may go from here. I think the plan could be actually to go from here to the Schlur Chase, which would be really interesting. A race that Jack seems to love plenty after Nube Negra's performance in that race. But I'd be very interested to see whether this horse has got more to give this season. Now, if this horse can get a very easy lead, this horse just jumps them silly usually and can be very hard to catch. There's no doubt about it. And look, I know that, Clear the Runway in here, unbeaten in 5 runs, gone up £23 since early May, which is absolutely crazy. I don't think we know where the ceiling is with that horse, but I don't know whether 3-1's a price I'd be taking to have a guess at with that one. And look, it could be a tough ask against a Willie Mullins horse, but look, if Editor Gite could beat a Willie Mullins horse, giving, I think, £18 to him, you'd have to say this could be very impressive, and Editor Gite could go on some big targets this season. Jack, I know midweek you're in agreement with me. Are you still in agreement with me?
I am. I can't wait to see him jump them silly, hopefully. Of course, you got to clear the runway, easy for me to say. Trying to achieve a 6-timer, and it's very aesthetically pleasing, I like to call him. But I mean, from a time perspective, he hasn't done anything ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. I think a mark of 142 may not be insurmountable in something like this. But I agree. I think Editor de Gite, unless they're kind of using it as a springboard to graded events, he is a graded horse in a handicap. That's literally for sure. I mean, that 4th in the Grand Annual, as you say, on heavy ground, which I think was against him off second top weight, only a couple of pounds behind Andy Dufresne. I thought that was an unbelievable run. He clearly loves it round here. This course and distance suits him down to a T. Noel gets on with him very well, and I think 7-2 is a respectable price. It's not a mad price. I don't think he's very overvalued whatsoever. But, of course, you've got Willie's in there, who I'm really not a fan of, with Brian Hayes on board. You've got Ephinoc Fizz as well, coming from the Welsh champion hurdle. Very intriguing. One that I think's very overlooked is probably El Baracho, who really does like quicker ground. So if you don't find that, if you don't have that rain come on the Friday, which is all but certain looking at every single forecast that there is, I think El Baracho's been a little bit overlooked. I mean, he's 5 from 7 over fences. And I mean, he's only rated 136. He's only been creeping up the weights because his last two wins are only in 3-runner contests. And before that, at Sedgefield as well, was only over 2 mile and a furlong over hurdles, but he won that. And he's just creeping up the weights. And I just think to myself, he's got Toby Wynn on board, claiming £7. Is he a little bit overlooked? He's 12 to 1. It's not too much of a each way possibility with only 7 runners, but I may have a little win bet on El Baracho. And if Editor Jeets goes off 7 to 2, I probably will do on him as well. Hopefully the rain stays away too much for El Baracho, but otherwise Editor Jeets to bring it home.
There we go. Editor de G, a joint bet for myself and Jack, but a good mention there for El Baracho at 12 to 1, who could potentially be a win bet only for Jack if staying at that sort of price. Now, moving on to the final race we'll look at from Cheltenham. This is the 350, the Pertemps Network Handicap Hurdle, a 3-mile Class 2 handicap hurdle. And I think I'm right in saying, Jack, that this year with regards to the Pertemps and qualifying, you have to finish in the top 4 rather than the top 6. Is that
spot
right?
on. Absolutely spot on.
It is, which is going to be difficult for some of those punters who always used to go, look who's staying on to 5th and 6th in a race and say that horse is going to end up winning the attempt. So it's going to be a lot more competitive. Going to see some, I think I saw Gavin Lynch mention you'll see some decent rides from Jockey trying to squeeze into those top 4s. And look at the betting here. It is a very open race. Botox Has is your 6 to 1 favourite. Shoot First 13 to 2. Salvador Ziggy is 8 to 1. On Tayor and Panic Attack 9 to 1. And double figures bar those. Jack, I'll let you go first on this one. Who do you like?
This is an absolute cracking race. I absolutely love this. I mean, this is exactly what the National Hunt season is all about for me. You've got Gordon Elliott and Charlie Burns trying to find their 4th place. You've got the likes of Gary Moore and David Pipe. What are they trying to do? You've got Anteo, who's 7 from 14 over hurdles, has an unbelievable record, but unseated at the November meeting last year. I haven't forgiven him since then. Over 2 mile 5. But look, I think I'm going to have 2 bets in this race, definitely. I'm going to wait for the ground again. But I think one of them's a class edge and one of them's who I think is one that is well handicapped and definitely won't really be trying to go for the Pertemps, will be trying to win this. And I do think Botox has to be well handicapped off 140. I mean, of course, he won at Fontwell in the Game Spirit, the National Spirit last year, beating Brewing Up a Storm, Guard Your Dreams. That was a very game performance. He was all out that day. It was lovely to see him stick his neck down. I know when I went to the yard last year, they were absolutely thrilled to see him over fences, but he fell on his first start at Plumpton. They dropped him back to hurdles off a mark of 140 last year. He finished 8th in a very, very impressive Greatwood, which worked out to be very good piece of form with West Cork, Adagio, bless him, in behind. It was a very nice piece of form, that. And I mean, he's off the same mark here. And I mean, he's only £1 higher than that National Spirit victory. I mean, he's got to be well handicapped. Jamie Moore's on board. He was actually flying at the moment. He's 5 from 19 in the last 2 weeks. So if Botox does go off about 6 to 1, I think that is a decent price, if I'm being honest. I mean, we got 6 places each way, so I think that also has to be an each way selection. I was umming and ahhing between Kansas City Chief, the 13-year-old who absolutely loves it round here, but I think Arse Dillon is the one that I'm going to go for, who's 25 to 1 at the moment, but he's rated 136, and I think he has to be well handicapped. I mean, he's so inconsistent. He's as inconsistent as they come. At December meeting last year, he was actually behind Kansas City Chief and Botox Has off a mark of 142. He's now £6 lower than that. He also won in April 2021 off 144. I think he's got to be well handicapped. I mean, he's either going to probably be in the frame or completely out the back of the picture. I mean, he was 15th or 17th when last seen at Sandown, but he's proved he can do it after a long break. And I think off a mark of 136, Arse Dillon's going to be my each way bet.
There we go, asked Dylan each way angle with Jack. A big fan of Botox Has, and there's no shock with me with the National Hunt scene. First of all, tipping up a favourite and also tipping up Gary Moore horses. And I also really love Botox Has in here. I really do. Now, Jack's pretty much explained the story there with this horse going over fences. Didn't quite work out. Ended up going for the Greatwood. At the end of the day, that wasn't the horse's trip. The horse isn't a 2-miler and still put in a good display and stayed on nicely in that race. But we then saw this horse step up to 3 miles in December in a 3-mile handicap hurdle and gave loads of weight to the winner there, who had a £7 claimer on board that day as well. Then we saw the horse come here in January, finishing 3rd, again giving weight to a lot of runners in the Paddy Power handicap hurdle. And we again saw this horse put in a decent display, but the 2 horses that beat him had loads of weight given to them and also claimers on board as well. Then we saw the horse go to the fabulous Fontwell racecourse and win the National Spirit in good style, where this horse just stayed on. I think this horse is an out-and-out three-miler, and this season could really, really prove that. I think now we could see this horse be even stronger over 3 miles. So I've got a feeling he's going to be winning this 6-1. I don't know what the full plan is with this horse, whether the plan is to go get this horse back to Fontwell for a National Spirit maybe towards the back end of the season. But look, I think this horse could be winning some big prizes. I mean, 6-1 for those of you like an each way bet to nothing. He's that for me. I really like him in here. Botox has. So Botox has for myself and Jack, but a nice each way bet for Jack as well with Ask Dylan. Now we go on to the flat where we have to switch attention back once again. I think we have to do it once more, though you're not back next week. I think we have to look at the November handicap next week, but you're not here, so I'll have to find someone who likes the jumps and the flat, but we will find someone.
Yeah.
But the Vertem Futurity is the last big Group One, and this is for the 2-year-olds, and wow, this race, I absolutely love this race because of its role of honour. Luxembourg, McSweeney, Cameco, Magna Grecia, Saxon Warrior, Camelot, St. Nicholas Abbey, authorised. Like, this race throws up some very, very good horses. And listening to some of the names there, especially Aidan O'Brien horses, and he has the favourite here in Auguste Rodin, 10-11 favourite currently. Epictetus, I believe this is how we pronounce this horse's name, is 4-1. Holloway Boy is 10-1. Stormbuster is 11-1. King of Steel 14-1. Salt Lake City 16-1. And 40s and 50s about the other two. Now, I'm going to keep it quite simple here, Jack, but I think the favourite will just win this. And I think this will be the 2,000 guineas winner that we will be seeing. What about yourself?
2,000 guineas winner. Oh,
I do. I just think that Aidan O'Brien, he sends some good horse here. Look at the record of horse he has. I know I'm not saying that, they've all gone on to win guineas, but the horse he's sent here have all gone on to run in guineas and run well. So all I'm saying is I could see this horse turning up. I don't know what price he is for the guineas at the moment, but I wouldn't say it's the worst bet in the world, to be totally honest. I think we'll see. We'll find out who the guineas winner will be on Saturday, whether Auguste Rodin does it and does it impressively. But if Epictetus were to do it, then you'd have to really be thinking about Silver Knot, who, could end up to be a really special horse for them. But I'd love to hear what your opinion is on this race.
No, I'm completely with you with Auguste Rodin. I think he's probably going to be a bit too good. I thought he was very impressive at Leopardstown. I thought he was a bit unlucky on debut at the Curragh. But I think if he's going to win a classic, I reckon it's going to be the Derby. Of course, he's out of Rhododendron, who was assistant to Magical. Of course, was classed over a mile and a quarter, but stayed a mile and a half. He's obviously by Deep Impact as well. I think a mile and a quarter, a mile and a half is exactly where he's going to be seen to his best ability later down his career as the end of a 3-year-old, perhaps if they try and keep him in training as a 4-year-old. But yes, I think he is going to be a little bit too good. Epictetus, I wasn't too keen with Epictetus after his debut, if I'm being honest. And I just think Auguste Rodin's going to be too good. You've got the likes of Holloway Boy there, who I think is going to kind of be like a Bayside Boy next year. Maybe not win a Group 1, but maybe scratch about in Group 2, Group 3 company. But look, if I'm being honest, I am fully transferred to the National Hunt season thus far, but I hope that Auguste Rodin goes in.
Yeah, it's something for everyone on Saturday, really, with regards to the racing. But no, I'm looking forward to this and seeing how Auguste Rodin gets on. And you just look at it now, this horse was only beaten on debut by Crypto Force, and look how good he could potentially be. Gone from the Callahans over to the Gosdens for next season. We don't know where the ceiling is with that horse, Crypto Force, but I just have this feeling Auguste Rodin will just keep on improving. Jack's right, this horse is probably bred more to be a Derby horse potentially, but we do see the sort of Derby types go and win guineas sometimes, and Luxembourg staying on in this year's 2,000 guineas and unfortunately having to miss the Derby. But that's the kind of horse I could see this potentially being. But like I say, it'd be very interesting to find out. But I think we'll have a good eye on who might be winning the 2,000
Just quickly, with Crypto Force and Auguste Rodin, I've backed them both once. I backed Auguste Rodin on his debut, when of course he was second to Crypto Force, and I backed Crypto Force in the Chesham, when of course he was seventh. So I picked out the only 2 times that each of them are lost in their career.
Not ideal, that. Oh, there we go. Oh, well. That's what I mean.
One, just not at the right time, apparently. So there you go. These things happen.
Exactly. No, that's there you go. At least you're doing something right. But at the end of the day, your brain switched to the National Hunt scene anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Although you've still got to keep your head on for the Breeders' Cup in a couple of weeks' time. So we have to wait for that. Right. let's get into the naps and next best for this week. And I'll start off with my next best this week. And my next best will be Botox Hass in the Per Temps Network handicap hurdle. Jack, what about yourself, your next
My
best?
next best, you won't believe it, is Botox has.
Oh, there we go. Another joint one. Oh, dangerous. Right, and my nap. Oh, God. It's a flat racing double coming up for you here. And it is August Rodin. And I'm going to head all the way out to Mooney Valley for Saturday morning for the Cox Plate, which is going to be very
But
exciting.
that's
A really
going
good
to
race
win.
to watch at 7:10. Animo in the same colours as Ben Battle for the Team Godolphin. Now, this horse here, ridden by James McDonald, has been drawn 4 earlier in the week, and it's probably the perfect draw for this horse. Unbeaten since the Spring Carnival began. Won the Winks Stakes, that's a Group One. Then won a Group One after that. Then went and won I think it was the Ned Might and Power Stakes, which is another Group One. James McDonald has been on this horse 9 times. I think he's won 5 of those, but he's placed every single time. So the other 4, he's been in the top 3. I cannot see this horse losing. I think the double's paying somewhere in the region of 7 to 2, 4 to 1. I'll calculate it and put it up on the screen, but that will be my nap. August Rodin and Animo double. Jack, your nap.
August Rodin,
That's a corker.
Animal double. And now, of course, you've said that the Cox Plate is a great chance for me to bring back an old friend of the channel. Maximal's running in the Cox Plate, which is great to see. And goodness me, I mean, I remember tipping him up for the Sussex Stakes back in the day, which of course he would have won.
Yeah.
But goodness me, it's nice to see the friend of the channel back. I'll be up nice and early to watch that. My nap's actually going to come on the Friday, so this afternoon. So do make sure you're watching it on a Friday. If you're not, hopefully you've just missed out on a winner. So anyway, on the 20 past 3, the 8-8 Sport novices handicap chase. I think Tully Beg's going to be way too good for them there. Hanging there, I haven't been too impressed with. Beat Hell Red by 50 lengths last time out in a 3-runner race at 5 to 2 on. But Tully Beg, when winning at Wexford on his last outing, I thought he looked very classy. I thought it was a great jumping display. I think he's absolutely relishing the switch to the larger obstacles. He's been a non-runner the last twice. I think the firmer ground will actually suit him, and I'm happy to oppose Pull Again Green on Chase debut, and Champagne Gold I think is nowhere up to it. So Tully Beg's 15 to 8 at the moment, and I think he may just prove too good.
Wow, Tully Beg, a horse that a lot of people have had a good bout. I've seen this horse plenty being put up by a lot of top tipsters, so very well fancied. 15 to 8 is not a bad price at all for a well-fancied favourite there. So very interesting to see. So there you go. Our naps and next best are on the screen now. So take note of those. Hopefully I'll be waking up to my first winner on Saturday morning and waiting for the afternoon for the second one. Next week, we will be back, or I will be back. Jack won't be back. And the next time you'll be seeing Jack on your screen will be for Breeders' Cup Live on the Saturday. We're only doing the Saturday, not the Friday, but join Jack and I for, I don't know, we'll probably have a takeaway, a few beers, and we'll be watching the racing and answering a few of your questions with regards to the flat season, also for the upcoming jump season as well. We'll try and get some ante-post selections maybe in there if you guys want to hear it. But we're looking forward to that. So you can join me next week with a special guest. Don't know who that is yet, but there will be a special guest joining me next week. Thanks as always for watching. Looking forward to the jump season with you guys. Like and subscribe as always, and we will see you soon.